fun. Of course, when you're working with the best players in the world, you're working with tremendous coaches, you learn a lot. Every time you have an opportunity to be in the gym with different types of players and different types of basketball minds, so you learn a lot. So it was a great learning experience for me, and a lot of fun to work with these players and these coaches, and looking forward to continuing it.
You obviously had to make 3 cuts yesterday. How difficult is it every year to make those cuts, and how do you feel about these 12-plus development spots so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard. It's always hard because players are competing at such a high level, and it's what they want. It's their dream. It's always really tough. But at the same time, it's the nature of the beast. I like the group that we have. We just got to continue to grow, continue to get better. Make sure we have some versatility at all positions, and now an opportunity to kind of hone in on what our rotations are going to look like, and continuing to add stuff on both ends of the floor.
Kind of suggested this will be an Amber question earlier this week, but any chance any of those 3 are brought back on those developmental spots?
Yeah, that's probably an Amber question. Yeah.
Sophie told us this week that she felt like some practices have been shorter this year in your second year. Has that been something intentional or just something she's
Well, we're not teaching from square one. I mean, when you think about really teaching from square one, the entire system, offensively, defensively, laying the foundation, it's going to be longer. There's a lot of our players have returned, and so they understand the system. We're able to get through things a little quicker. There's not as much stopping, in the middle of practice. So I think part of it's that. A lot of it's that.
Steph Kelsey, obviously another year here. I know you've talked about her already this training camp, but what does she mean to this team?
She means a lot. I mean, she's a player who has really been the backbone of this franchise for a long time. She's the fastest player in the league with the ball in her hands. I mean, she's a tough matchup. She's a great complement to what we have in Caitlin and AB, and her ability to create and to create shots for others, the gravity that she brings. And she's a pro's pro. I mean, she's somebody that you don't have to worry about. She loves this game. She comes in and she competes and works at a high level every single day. When she leaves the gym, she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. So she's the ultimate pro. And you saw last year how she put us on her back. And now we get some healthy bodies back, and she can continue to impact the game in the ways that she's capable.
What are the ingredients of good rivalry?
Well, first, the games have to be competitive. Certainly. I think that we create a lot of rivalries when the games are competitive. So the games have to be competitive. I think there has to be just a mentality of 2 teams that you make it hard every single day. I think that there are teams that you hate to play. Teams that you know that are going to be a battle every night, and I think when you've got 2 elite competitive teams, that makes sometimes a rivalry. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the fans think it's a rivalry, and it's not. And sometimes it is. So, I don't know that we have one yet, but certainly I think the opportunities present itself as we continue.
I got to cut it there. I got to get Kelsey in, guys.
Just the excitement level of finally it's here a couple days away.
Yeah, everyone's pretty pumped. I think the energy's high. It's great to, for these to actually start counting, so we're super excited.
Kelsey getting ready for her 9th year here. I know you've played with her now for a while.
Yeah.
What does she mean to this team?
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey, I feel like I've said it before. I mean, Kelsey's sticking through the fever during the tough times, during the good times. I mean, that's just who she is. And so to be able to play with her, I mean, it's always just a blessing. I think Kelsey's one of the hardest guards in the league to have to guard, and she's on my squad, so I'm super excited about that.
Earlier this week, Sophie joked that practices are a little shorter this year under year 2 of coach. What do you think of the second year of Stephanie White so far? What's different to you and how she's doing?
Honestly, I just think her approach is just like, let's win, do what we have to do, hold each other accountable about doing the things that is going to take to win. I think that's what we just love the most, and obviously a lot of us coming back under her, so we already know exactly how she likes to play, what she wants to do, and so it just makes it easier for a lot of us.
Do you also think the practices are shorter?
They sure have. Some of them. Don't get fooled. Some of them.
For you, how do you manage expectations? Obviously, you want to win a championship, want to have these accomplishments, but you can't do it all tomorrow. So how do you navigate that?
Just being where my feet are, taking it game by game. I actually talk to Steph and just talk about just staying level-headed. I think most of the time I'm pretty good at just taking the highs and just not getting too low at the lows. And so for me, I think that's going to be a big thing for me as well. Just continue to stay stay consistent. Stay low.
You thought about what it would feel like to be whole again after not having that last year?
Yeah, I think everyone's just excited. Like, I think we're ready to play, ready to get some good hoops in and put some games in.
You've been part of rivalries in high school, college,
Yeah.
pros. What's like the best part of competing in those games, those scenarios?
Just the atmosphere. Like, I think the atmosphere is always the best part. I mean, you're coming out there to do what you love. And sometimes the ball goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think the atmosphere, just seeing how many people come out and cheer you on, or root against you and boo you. But I think the energy is just always great.
So big picture, Boston Arena to sold out places all the time now. Obviously, Saturday's gonna be rocking.
Yeah.
How often do you think about where you come from and where you're headed? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think about it a lot. Boston Arena, I mean, my dad really just drew that outside our driveway, and so to see where it all started to now just being on the Indiana Fever, playing, being a professional athlete, starting my 4th year, I feel like time has just flown by, and it's kind of crazy to think about it, but I never take it for granted. God has seriously placed so many people in my path and opened the right doors for me, and so I'm just super excited to be here.
Played Dallas already, obviously, different circumstances on Saturday, but when you look at a team with so much young talent that's trying to make for that ceiling, what they can accomplish, what are the challenges that they pose to you, and then what needs to be done to kind of...
I think, Dallas did a great job surrounding Paige with more shooters on the floor, and I think even down to the post, you have Alana Smith that just stretches the floor completely. And so I think for us is just make sure that we keep our energy high. We know it's going to be a game of runs. We know they want to put a lot of points up, but making sure that we're playing both ends of the floor.
We saw Caitlin get into TV. You've already been there, and now Sophie's getting on TV with USA Network. What do you think about your teammates following your path and all of that?
I love it. I think anytime you have the opportunity to have professional athletes in general just continue to talk about the game, I think there's always new eyes on the game, and so to get the perspective of a player, I feel like there's no better feeling than that, especially as a fan listening in, because you really get to understand it a little bit different.
you learn anything from Candace?
Oh, a lot. I love watching Candace, and I always send her a picture. I think the way Candace analyzes the game and the way she just talks her truth about what she sees on the floor is just somewhere that I want to use.
Thanks, AB.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Another year. I mean, what's different about the excitement level with this team maybe compared to even previous years?
I think now we got some expectations. People expect, a certain sense of greatness. They expect, us to, do what we do, and they expect us to have a high average of winning while doing it. And so, try not to think there's pressure, but you can't, negate that there's a target somewhere that you got to be prepared for as a pro. You go to embrace it after that, but I do think, people have expectations for us to do well, and now we just got to do the work.
This is your 9th year here.
Yeah.
Now it's about to really get going. Can you believe it's 9 years, and what makes this franchise, this city, so important to you?
I can't believe it. Sometimes, I see, Cece and Raven, running around. I'm like, wow, I'm getting old. Because my energy level is so different than theirs. I'm like, shit, 9 a.m. But I also embrace it because, we get a chance to be our own little family. I know 9 years in, and the drastic changes the league made. I went from, sleeping with somebody in a hotel room to, having my... So those, small adjustments and those small changes have impacted me greatly, but in so many positive ways. I'm still grateful that I'm even a part of it, really, man, because, you get 9 years in the league, people don't expect that. Now, I don't ever want to take that for granted. I want to stay as young as I possibly can. And just keep embracing what's happening. There's a lot of change throughout the course of our league, throughout the course of women's basketball across the board. And I keep getting all the best rookies in the world. So, I got to keep taking it on. So it's exciting, though. It's pretty fun.
How do you manage the expectations, Kelsey, when you want something so bad, but you can't, go out and win a championship tomorrow, but you've been working at it for a little decade?
Man, you try to keep the main thing, which is, easier said than done. You try not to look at it as, getting it right here, right now. I try to keep myself in position where, stand in the moment. That's also easier said than done. Once the game gets started, to get the butterflies in your stomach. I just think it's about making sure that you understand why you're here. I don't ever want to change who I am either. So my purpose and my passion for will change, and I think that's how I stay. I can't get too high, I can't get too low because I know I love the game. And my idea, my goal, all of our goals is not disrespecting it. So when the highs get high and the lows get low, just kind of let your passion be there and let it take you to the center.
What is that special feeling before an opening day where you're trying to figure out what the season could be about?
You get butterflies, you think about the good stuff, you think about what could go wrong. I think you're just a human at that point before it starts. And you hopefully the pro in you turns on when the lights come on. But I think the day before it's like, you just kind of want it to be what it's going to be. But I think for me, it's just about making sure you love it the same way. Even like when it's tough and it's not great, love it the same way, and you let the chips fall where they may.
Kelsey.
What happened with you last year essentially proved to yourself how much you love and are willing to give to this organization.
Yeah, for sure. I will do it all over again. Obviously, I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, so I'm just not like have Rambo again. But it's like, I'm just gonna do what I gotta do to like make sure I'm present for every moment. Lord willing, every game. Give my best. I don't ever want you guys to see me. I give my best. So hopefully you see Kelsey Mitchell. I'm giving everything I got.
You ever have like a sliver of, am I going to get back to who I am when you're going through that?
No, I ain't how you supposed to think. I think the human you is like, will I be the same? But my ideal, my goal in life is to be me. And whatever happens, down the stretch of that process, I'm going to take it how it comes because like, I know how much I love being and I know how much I'll be willing to give up.
Kels, how did you grow last year?
With this team, but when you look at Dallas, kind of a similar path that they've had.
Yeah, for sure.
Four former number one overall picks. Do you see similarities with these franchises?
Yeah, definitely. They have a really good pieces to really solid foundation that they've already built, and so our preparation is imperative. And I think that if you take that for granted, Dallas will come in and punch you right in the mouth. They have who they have for a reason. They're great individually as players for a reason, but collectively, you can tell they've done the work the last month. Hats off to those guys in the preseason because they punch us in the mouth. You really get challenged early. And I think every solid basketball player needs that, but specifically for an organization, both our organizations not that different. We both trying to get it the same way. We're new additions and new pieces. You're looking for what it is. Us playing Dallas was good for us. Getting punched early was good for us, and so hopefully we make the right adjustments and we show up.
Last one here with Andrew.
And then Kels, just how did you grow as a player last year?
I think leadership was one of my biggest things. I'm not the most talkative person, but I had to do a little bit more than I normally would in those conditions. And I think that it kind of made me who I am. I'm a little bit more vocal. Stuff is like, Kelsey, I've never seen you talk so much. I said me either. But like, I know you kind of embrace it. And I think last year was a really growing period for me because it made you vulnerable. All you guys know what it's like to be vulnerable and be exposed a little bit more. But I think it made me who I am this year because I get to know what it feels like to have to go through a championship run indoor, fight for a playoff spot. And now I know what it's like to stay there. And so you couple those together, you got like hopefully a different mindset in Kelsey Mitchell and just one that's a little bit more mature than it was last year.
Thanks, Kelsey.